Hello everyone. So in today's lecture we will discuss about the contextual menu, right? In the last lecture we already completed the option menu and how option menu are created and how option menu are added in the XML file. So in today's lecture, after learning this chapter, you will understand about how contextual menu is added in the XML file. So let's start to understand the contextual menu. So guys, use a contextual menu to allow user to take an action on the selected view. So you can provide a context menu for any view, but they are most often used for item in a recycler view or a grid view or other view collection. So in which the user can perform direct action on each item. So Android provide two kinds of contextual menu. First one is a context menu and second one is a contextual action bar. So a contextual menu. So on the left side in this figure, you can see here that appear as a floating list of menu items. So so when the user perform a long tap on the view element on the screen, so it is typically used to modify the view element or use it in some fashion. So for example, a context menu might include a edit or a edit view element and a delete it and share to share it over the social media. So user can perform a contextual action on one view element at a time. So and another kind another kind of contextual menu is a contextual action bar. So it shows on a right hand side of the figure. It appear at the top of the screen in place of the app bar or underneath the app bar, which action item that affect the selected view element. So user can perform an action on a multiple view element at once. Okay. So guys, let's understand floating context menu. What is floating context menu? Okay. The familiar resource in flat design pattern is used to create a floating context menu and modify to include registering the context menu in a view, right, in a view. So guys, for you need to follow these steps to create a floating context menu for one or more value elements. So create an XML menu resource file for the menu item and assign appearance and position attributes. Right. Second step, you need to register a view to the context menu using the register for context menu methods of an activity class. And after that, in the third step, you need to implement the on create context menu method in your activity or fragment to inflate the menu. After that, in the fourth step, you need to implement the on context item selected method in your activity or fragment to handle menu item clicks. After that, just create a method to perform an action for each context menu item. Okay. So let's understand how to create a XML resource file. Okay. So create the XML menu resource directory and file by the following steps in the provision section. So use a suitable name for the file such as underscore context. So add the context menu item, that is in this example the menu item are edit, share and delete. So for that, for adding the XML resource, for adding these three menu in the XML resource file, firstly I need to call the item elements. So inside the item element, I am here defining a three attribute. First attribute is Android ID, second attribute is Android title, and third attribute is Android order in categories. Okay, so ID is mainly defined that the menu id, that is context underscore edit. Okay, title is edit. This title is appear on the appear as a text which is visible to the user. And now order in category value is 10. Okay, so same I am defining an item for the share, and same I am defining for the delete. Now let's understand how we registering the view in the context menu. Okay, so register a view to a context menu by calling the calling the register for context menu method and passing it to the view, and registering a context menu for a view set. The view dot on create context menu listener on the view to this activity, so that on create context menu method will be called when it's time to show the context menu. So we need to implement the on create context menu in the next section. So for example, in the on create method for activity, just add the register for context menu statement, right? So for that, firstly, registering the context menu to the text view of the article, we need to define the text view article underscore text. This article underscore text is mainly, you can say that the instance of text view. Okay, instance of text view equal to text view find view by id, in which we have to pass r dot id dot articles. Okay, r dot id dot article. And the next line, register for context menu method are called, in which this article underscore text is passed as a argument. Okay, so multiple view can be registered so multiple view can be registered to the same context menu if we want to each item in the listener view or a grid view to provide the same context menu. First of all, register all the item for the context menu by passing the list view or grid view or register for context menu method. Next, let's understand the implementation of the on create context menu method. So when the register view receive a long click event, the system calls the on create context menu methods, which you can override in your activity for fragments. And this is where you need to define the menu item. So usually by inflating a menu resource, for example, see guys, you can see here the code. For example, here first here it override the on create context menu by writing at the rate override. After that, public void on create context menu method, in which it pass some argument like context uh, menu and view v, and context menu dot context menu info and menu info. So this data is passed as a argument inside the on create context menu. And after that, for this method, just define the body. So inside the body, it write that the super dot on create context menu in which it pass menu comma v comma menu info. So as you see that in the above, v is instance of view, menu is instance of context menu, and menu info is a instance of context menu info. So these three instance is passed in the passed as an argument in the on create context menu method. After that, in the next line, menu inflator class is called, and for just make a instance of this class as a inflator equal to get menu inflator method. So inflator dot inflat inside the inflat, it pass r.menu underscore context comma menu. So this line is passed as a argument inside the inflat method, right? So in this code, the menu parameter for on create context menu is the context menu to be built. The v parameter is the view register for the context menu, and the menu info parameter is the extra information about the view register for the context menu. So this information vary depending on the class of v, which could be recycler view or a grid view. So if you are registering a recycler view or a grid view, you would instantiate a context menu info object to provide the information about the item selected, and pass it as a menu info such as the row id comma position or child view. So the menu inflator class provide the inflat method, which take as a parameter the resource id for the xml layout resource to load, and the menu to inflat info. Okay. Next understand the implementing the on context item selected method. So when the user click on the menu item, the system call the on create text item selected method. So you can override this method in your activity for fragment in order to determine which menu item was clicked, and for which view the menu is appearing. So you also use it to implement the appropriate action for the menu item, such as edit node method and share node method, right? So these are some menu item, that is edit and share menu item. These are some example of context menu, guys. These days there are so many screen size as screen size are available in the market, right? Some people have a 6-inch mobile, some people have a 4-inch mobile, some have a 5-inch mobile, some have 6.4-inch mobile. So whatever screen size, according to that, it automatically resize them. Okay. So it will be happen by using a vector assets. So the vector asset studio dialog appear for the vector assets, and just click the material icon radio button, and then just click the choose button to choose an icon from the material design space. Okay. And after that, just click the next after choosing an icon. Okay. And click finish, and then click finish to finish. The icon name should now appear in the app appear in the app folder. Now just click on the res folder and then drawable folder. Okay. Now adding the button with text and icon to the layout. Okay. Adding in button with the text or a layout. So for that, guys, you need to write some xml code. So to create a button with text and icon as shown in the figure below, to use the button in the xml layout, and just add the android drawable left attribute to draw the icon to the left of button text as shown in the figure here. Okay. And then for this, you need to just write some code, like you need to firstly call the button attribute, in which you need to add some attributes like layout width, layout height, and what text you want to show. And drawable left, uh, this will drawable left is used for showing for placing the button icon. Okay, so as you can see guys, a button is appear here, in which alert is written. Alert is actually a text message or a text on the button, and alarm, or you can say that a watch type something icon is appear on that button, right? So, but it is on a left side, so that's why drawable left we need to call. And we need to write the name of that button. So button icon is name. So this is how we can create a button with the image or text both, right? Next is how can we create um, we can create a raise button with a only an icon, right? So if an icon is usually understood, you may want to use it instead of text. So to create a raise button with just an icon or image, use the image button class, in which extend the image view class. You can add an image button to your XML layout. Okay, so for that you need to call the image button tag or attribute, or a tag or element, image button element, and in which you need to add some attribute like layout width, layout height, and source, means a source of image icon. Okay. Next is changing the style and appearance of rage button. So for that, the simplest way to show more prominent raise button, to use different background color for the button. So you can specify the Android background attribute with drawable or color resource. So for that, you need to just write a attribute Android colon background equal to at the rate color slash color primary. Okay, the appearance of your button, the background color and the font may vary from one device to another, because device by different manufacturer often have different default style for input control. So you can control exactly how your button and other inputs control are styled using an theme, or using a theme that you apply to your entire app. So for instance, to ensure that all device that can run the holo theme will use the holo theme for your app, and declare the following in the application element in the Android manifest.xml file. So for that you need to write the attribute like Android colon theme equal to at the rate Android colon style slash theme dot holo. So after adding the above declaration, the app will be displayed using the theme. And the app designed for Android 4.0 uh, and higher can also use the device default public theme family. And the device default theme are alias for the device uh, native look and feel. So the device default theme family and visit style family offer a way for developers to uh, target the device native theme will with all customization in fact. So for Android app running on the 4.0 and newer, you, you have a following option. Okay, so firstly use the theme such as one of the holo theme, so that your app has exact same look across all Android devices running on 4.0 or newer. So in this case, the app look doesn't change when running on the device with a different default skin or custom skin. So Next option, you can use one of the device default theme, so that so that your app take on the loop on the device default scheme. So don't use a theme, but you may have an unpredictable result on some device, right? So you are not already familiar with Android style and theme system, so you should read style or theme, and the blog post Holo everywhere provide information about using the Holo themes while supporting older device, right? So for a guide on a style and customizing button using XML, you just need to see the button class, okay? And for comprehensive guide for designing button, you need to see a components button in the material design specifications, okay? After that, we learned about how to design a flat button, okay? How to design a flat button. So a flat button, also known as a broadless button, broadless button in the text button that appear flat on the screen without a shadow. The major benefits of flat button is simplicity. The minimize dis- distraction from content, and a flat button are useful when you have a dialog. So as shown in a figure here, okay, which require user input or interaction. For in this case, you would want to have the same font and style as the text surrounding the button. So this keeps the looks and feel the same across all element within the dialog, okay? So flat button show below, right? Show below reassemble basic button, except that they have no border or a background, but still change appearance during different state, right? So a flat button show an ink shade around it when it pressed, okay? When it pressed. So in the above figure, it shows that um, the three state. First for the normal state, second for the disable state, and third for the press state. So normal state, in this normal state, the button looks just like ordinary text, okay? And for the disabled state, when the text is when the text is grayed out, the button is not active in the app context. And next state is press state. The press state with the background shadow indicate that the button is being touched or clicked. So when you attach a callback to the button, the callback is called when the button in this state. So if you use the flat button within the layout, be sure to use padding to set it off from the surrounding text, so that the user can easily see it. So to create a flat button, just use the button class and add the button to your XML layout, and apply some attributes, okay? So designing an image as a button, you can turn an image, you can turn an image you can turn any view, such as image view, into a button by adding the Android on click attribute in the XML layout. So the image of the image view must already be stored in the drawable folder in the project. So note that to bring image into your Android Studio project, just create or save the image in JPG format and copy the image file into the app into the app folder, and inside the app folder the src folder is present. Just click on that and then you will see a main folder. Just click on the main folder again and then you will see res folder. Inside the res folder, driver folder is present. Just click on that and you will see your project. Okay, so for more information about drawable resource, you can just check the drawable resource in the app resource section of Android developer guide. So if you are using a multiple image as a button, arrange them in a view group so that they are grouped together. So for example, the following image of drawable folder are defined for image view, and the grouped in the linear layout set to horizontal orientation so that they appear side by side. Okay, they appear side by side. So for creating this image button, you need to write the following code. Okay, first of all you need to call a element, that is linear layout element. Inside the linear layout element you need to add the attribute, that is layout width, layout height, and the orientation, and also the layout margin top. So guys, you can see here layout width is written as a match parent, and height is also a match parent, and next orientation is horizontal, and layout margin top equal to 260 dp. Okay, so it was defined, and after that obviously there are three image here. So for that you need to call three image view. Okay, so for in the first image view you need to again write some attribute, and you need to add some control also to each button. Okay, so for that attribute you need to add is layout width, layout height, src, and on click. So the value of layout width is equal to wrap content, layout height same wrap content, src whatever the source for that particular image you need to write here. For example, first image is ice cream circle, so you need to write the source for that. Okay, and after that just add the on click equal to order ice cream. Okay, means whenever you click the ice cream icon, means that whenever you click it was added or maybe it was ordered from your side. Okay, next image view is a actually for donut. So for that same you need to add some attribute like layout width, layout height, src, and on click. So whenever you click on that donut image, the order will be placed. Okay, the order will be placed. Next, that image view. Okay, in which layout again this one next third image is actually a Frio image, Frio, and sorry, Froyo. So for Froyo you need to again add some attribute in the image view elements, and these attributes are actually a layout width, layout height, src, and on click. So whenever you click on the Froyo, uh, your order will be placed. So these three image are actually written in the linear layout. Okay, next is how do we design a float action button. Okay, float action button. So a float action button show uh, as a figure, you can see here. So in the circular button that appear on the float above the layout, so that is known as float button. Okay, so guys, in this figure you can see here, this is an example. When you are adding some new number, you will just click on this plus icon, and you can add a new number inside your mobile contact, right? So you should use the floating action button only to represent the primary action for screen, right? For example, the primary action for contact app main screen is adding a contact. So as shown in the figure above, a floating action button is the right choice if your app require an action to be persistent and readily available on the screen. So only one floating action button is recommended per screen. The floating action button use the same type of icon that you would use the floating that you use the floating button with an icon or for action in the app bar. Okay, at the top of the screen you can at the top of the screen you can add an icon as a as in described previously. We already learned that, so how we can choose an icon for the button, right? So use a floating action button in the Android Studio project. You must add the following statement in the build.gradle file in the dependency section. So for that, in the dependency section, you need to write compile in a double quotes com.android.support design colon 23.4.0. As you know that 23.4.0 is actually a version, right? So the version at the end of a statement may change, right? Maybe definitely now maybe right time other version are available, so you can write the obviously whatever the current version are available, you just write that version. Okay, so use the newest version suggestion by Android Studio to create the floating action button, and use the floating action button class which extend the image button class. You can add the following action button to XML layout as follows. So for that you need to write the XML code, like firstly you need to write android.support.design visit dot floating action button. Okay, and in once you call this element, you need to add some attribute for this element. Okay, and these attributes are Android colon ID, layout width, layout height, layout gravity, layout margin, and also SRC means source. So floating action button by default are 56 into 56 TP in size. So if the best to use the default size, unless you need the smaller version to create a visual continuity with the other screen element. So you can set you can set the mini size, that is 30 cross 40 dp app uh, with the app colon fab size attribute. Okay, and when you use the app size fab size attribute, in which you need to pass a mini as a value to set for setting the setting the minimum size of the icon. Okay, for the floating action icon, sorry, floating action button size. Okay, the minimum size is 30 is to 40. So to set it back to the default size, you just need to write app colon fab size equal to normal. So when you choose a normal as a value, then it means it automatically understand that you are saying that the default size of a floating action bar, that is 56 into 56 dp, right? So to responding to the button click event, just use the event listener called on click listener, which is an interface in the view class to represent the click event that actually occurs when the user tap or click the clickable object, such as button, image button, or floating action bar. So for more information, an event listener or other type of UI event, and read the input event section of Android developer documentation. Okay. So how we can add a on click on the layout element. So to set on the on click listener for the clickable object in your activity, so just code and design a callback method to use the Android colon on click attribute with the clickable object element in the XML layout. So for example, you need to write the button element, and in which you need to pass some attribute, and these attribute are ID, layout width, layout height, text, and on click. So when you so in this case, when a user click the button, the Android system call the activity send message method. Okay. And for that, you already wrote some code uh, in your Java file. That is, it contain public void send message, in which you pass view, and do something in response to the button click. Means between the body of this um, body of this method, you can write anything which you want to response to the button click. Okay. So the method you declare as the Android on click attribute must be public. So return a void, and defined a view as the only parameters. So use the method to perform task or call other method as response to the button click. Okay. So using the button listener design pattern, you can also handle the click event programmatically using the button listener design pattern. So for more information on the listener design pattern, um, you can see a creating custom listener. Okay. To use the event listener, just click on the view.onClick listener, which is an interface in the view class that contain the single callback method, onClick method. The method is called by Android framework when the view is triggered by user interaction. The event listener must already be registered to the view in order to be called for event. So follow these steps to register the listener and use it. Okay. Use the find view by ID method of the view class to find the button in XML layout file. Okay. So for that, you need to write button. You need to call the button class, and just make an instance that button equal to button find view by ID, in which you just pass r.id.button underscore send. Okay. After that, get a new view on click listener object and register it to the button by calling the set on click listener method. The argument to set on click listener method take an object that implement the view dot on click listener interface, which has one method, that is on click method. And in the on click method, you need to write some code like button dot set on click listener, in which you have to pass a new view dot on click listener method. Okay. So define the on-click method to be public, and return the void and define the view as an only parameters. Okay. So to create a method to do something in response to the button click, such as perform an action. To set the click listener programmatically, instead of with the on click attribute, just customize the view dot on click listener class, and override its on click handle to perform some action. Using the event listener interface for other event. Just other event can occur with the UI element, and you can use the callback method already defined in the event listener interface to handle them. So the method are called by Android framework when the view to which the listener has been registered. It triggered by the user interaction, and you therefore must set the appropriate listener to use the method. And the following are some of the listener available in the Android framework, and the callback method associated with each one, right? So for that, just click on click method from view dot on click listener, and handles a click event in which user touches and then uh, releases an area of the device display occupied view. And then just on click callback has no return value, has a no return value, right? And then after that, just click on long click on a long click method from view dot on long click listener. It actually handle an event in which the user maintain the touch over the view for extended period. So this return a boolean to indicate whether you have consumed the event, and it should not be considered further. So this is returned true to indicate that you have handled the event, and it should stop here. And return false if you have not handled it, and so that the event should continue in any other on click listener. Okay. And after that, just you can use on touch method from view dot on touch listener, and handle by from the touch content with the screen, including individual or multiple touches, and gesture motion, including a press and release of any movement gesture in the screen, right? In the screen, which include a directional information, and it return the boolean to indicate whether an listener consume this event or not. After that, you can also use on focus change method from view dot on focus change listener. So you can handle when focus moves away from the current view as the result of interaction with the top ball, and navigation key is appear. Okay. After that, another method is also present, that is on key method. from view.onKey listener handle when the key on the hardware device is pressed while a view has focused. Okay. um, these methods are actually associated with the associated with the callback methods. Okay. So today we properly understand about the two type of button, that is floating that is a first one is raised button and the second one is flat button. Okay. So after that, guys, just understand this topic from the Android programming cookbook, and after that, these are some homework to you. Just understand this and tell me the answer. So this is the first question for you. This is the second question. This is the third question. Next. 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 So this is the last question for you guys. Um, Next topic we will learn in the next class. Okay. So for today, this is enough.